So with Halloween quickly approaching, I decided now would be as good a time as ever to look into one of the creepiest songs the Beatles ever released.
Number 9, number 9, number 9.
So what exactly is Revolution 9? Let's make one thing clear right off the bat. Revolution 9 isn't really a song. It's a sound collage, or musique concrète. While most songs contain rhythm, melody, harmony, and all that good stuff, Revolution 9 was made by layering and looping many different audio clips, similarly to how collages are made by gluing together a bunch of seemingly random images. When Revolution 9 came out, sound collages weren't a new thing. Sound collages can be traced all the way back to the Baroque period with Battaglia by Bieber. While Battaglia was experimental for its time, we really need to fast forward to Walter Ruttmann's Wochenende, first electronic sound collage. And then in 1948, the first musique concrète was created by Pierre Schaeffer, who rearranged the different sounds of trains to create Whatever your opinion is of Yoko Ono, there's no denying the impact she had on John. The experimental artist turned him onto the avant-garde art scene and collaborated with him on Two Virgins in 1967, but Paul has also stated that Revolution 9 was similar to his unreleased track Carnival of Light, which could have been another source of John's sudden interest in sound collages. The Beatles were well known and respected for their ability to cross genres and delve into new experimental places, and they were obviously very inspired by avant-garde composers like Stockhausen, who actually shows up on the iconic Sgt. Pepper album cover. Songs like Tomorrow Never Knows, Helter Skelter, Strawberry Fields Forever, and A Day in the Life, the list goes on, all have experimental sides, but they're still somewhat ear-pleasing. You don't have to like them, but you can't deny that they are in fact songs with a structure and a melody. Revolution 9 is a whole other level of avant-garde. It starts with some whispers and a soft piano intro leading into the most iconic part of the song.
Number 9, number 9, number 9.
That loop repeats throughout the track, almost like a strange chorus. From there we get a series of distorted and warped audio clips, laughing, screaming, crying. It's really a trip, and I don't just mean a drug-induced trip. I mean that when you get to the end of it, it feels like you've been on an actual journey. It's like this strange roller coaster of sounds. The first time leaves you totally confused, but the more you listen to it, the more things you begin to notice, and you start to learn and expect, and almost anticipate certain parts. When asked about the track, John said, "Revolution 9 was an unconscious picture of what I actually think will happen when it happens, just like a drawing of a revolution." Revolution 9 has divided Beatles fans for decades. The general public wasn't too fond of it when it came out, but it's kind of become more accepted over time. As for its effect on the evolution of music, John Lennon wasn't the first person to make this kind of track, but he was one of the first people to bring it up from the underground and into popular music. He took a genre that most people weren't paying attention to, and, well, he got them talking about it, whether or not that talk was in service of it.
Barbershop is in danger of growing stale. I'm taking it to strange new places.
Number 8. Number 8. Number 8.
The Beatles were smart. Even on their most experimental albums, they still kept writing solid pop and rock songs that created a good balance and kept them relevant and timeless, which is part of why I think Paul and John hold the title of the most successful songwriting duo in history. It would have taken a lot more than one unusual track on a 90-plus minute album to knock the Beatles off their perch, but it still takes a lot of guts to attach a track like that to something as withstanding as the White Album. The White Album is an interesting album, and Revolution 9 wouldn't really have worked anywhere else. I talked about it in my other video, but the diversity of that album is what makes it such a fun listen. Like Revolution 9, it's kind of all over the place. Yes, I think Revolution 9 is a masterpiece, but not in the way that is enjoyable like Bohemian Rhapsody or Stairway to Heaven. It makes you uncomfortable, it's creepy, and what I imagine hell probably sounds like, but every time I listen to it, it just grows on me more and more in this weird way I can't really explain. If you don't like Revolution 9, that's fine. I'm not going to try and tell you that you should, but I do think it deserves some praise and respect, if not as a song, then as an experiment with new technology.